Hello, this is Lisa Russick
Donna Murphy.
with the podcast We Are All Psychic. And today we have an incredibly freaking awesome guest named June. June, would you like to say hello?
Hello. My
Oh,
name
she's
is June
musical too,
Lundgren.
Donna. She's musical. Donna, would you
Yes.
like to ask June a question? Right.
Yes, I would like to ask you a question, June. Do you think we're all psychic?
Oh yeah, there's only like 1% of people in the world that are not.
Really?
Yeah,
How do you think that? Where'd you get that?
just research,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
research.
Are the people
I mean,
who yeah, are the people who aren't? Is it that they truly are born without any
Like,
they
intuitive
have
sense, or are they
they
blocked?
they have they have some, but
Mhm.
it's not pronounced, and it's not as let's put it this way: they don't exercise it.
yes.
It's like lifting weights. If you don't exercise
Yeah.
it, you
Right,
don't use
right.
it, you lose it.
Yeah, why would that be, do you think, that some people don't? Was it just not an interest
People
or
people are afraid.
yeah,
People don't want to, they're afraid of what they'll pick up, they're afraid of what they'll see.
they're afraid
It's
of
it's
demons?
thing yeah, that too. It's
Perfect timing for
it's
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is, but some people don't want to be known for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like all the women in my family for generations, they've all been, had abilities, but I'm the only one that deals with the demons. But
Yeah.
my grandmother raised me, and she was a psychic medium, and she was from Ireland. So,
Oh,
it's
was
all
she an
about,
Irish medium? I've always
yeah,
seen.
she was handed down, it was handed down from, generation to generation, the females.
Yeah.
And when I was born, she knew the minute that, she held me, that I
Yeah.
was different, that I was more powerful than anything that she had come across. And then she remembered a family prophecy from the 14th century, which was handed down from female to female. And it said that there will be born a female child who will have the ability to see, hear, and kill demons. And
No.
yeah, my grandma said
I've
the
got
minute she
chills.
picked
I
me up,
did.
she
It's getting
she
cold in
knew
here.
that it was me.
Yeah, that's great. I mean,
Yeah, it's like
wow.
I told Michael. I said, "You can't give me something airy fairy unicorns. You got to give me.
Yeah.
You got to let me take
Yes.
out the trash."
Really, this? This? Thanks.
And it's just, well, it's because when I died in my motorcycle accident, I've always known I had an angelic soul, but when I died and went to the other side, and then Michael says, "You need to understand who and what you are." He says, "Your soul belongs to Ariel, the archangel, and she was sent back to relive human lives to learn to have compassion for mankind." And so I'm like, "Oh, goody, goody."
That's really weird that you say that, June, because remember before the podcast, I told you I had a demon experience. The angel
Hmm.
that saved me was Archangel Ariel.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah,
told
she
me how
gets
to say its
around.
name, Ariel. And it's told me how
Yeah,
it's spelled and everything. And it just was this presence, and it saved my life. And it kept the house
yeah.
from blowing up. That's how severe the situation was.
Yeah, she's been reincarnating since 1198 AD when, there was a woman that called out to God to help her get rid of a demon, that she was possessed by a demon. And God sent Ariel. And Ariel just literally ripped the demon out of the woman. So the physical body died. And God said, you need to have compassion for mankind. He said, you're going to go back and live physical lives until you learn to have compassion.
Mhm.
Well, this is life number 131. And I
Wow.
think she's finally learned.
I've change.
And it's like, yeah, God's always giving me a hard time. You need to have patience. I said, that's Ariel's fault. I said, if I don't have patience,
You're
it's
right.
because of her.
Yeah.
That's why it freaks people out, because when she comes forward, they'll see physical manifestations. They'll see wings
I
coming out
saw
of my
her.
shoulders, my eyes turn
Mm.
white, and my
You
face and voice
changed? Are you
changes.
actually incarnated as her? I mean, are you her? Is that your?
Yes, I am. I am her.
That
Yeah,
is
we are
so cool.
one.
So you were the one who saved me. Come
Yep,
full circle. So you know all about
we
it
get it.
then.
We get around.
Yeah, that's really cool, man.
It's hard to explain, because it's like I have one foot on the other side and one foot
I bet
here,
you do.
and all I have to do is blink, and I can look through her eyes. I could see the world through angelic eyes.
What does it look like?
And you don't see the physical world, you see the energy that makes up the object or the person
Mhm.
or, the
What does
earth,
it look like to you?
tree.
Like, does it look like colors, or does it, I mean,
Yeah, it's complex. It's complex energy. When I look at a soul, I see complex sentient energy, and sometimes it can be tinges of red. Sometimes it can be white. It's mostly white, but it can have red and purple depending upon the individual or the object.
that is so cool. That is really cool. I have a friend named Bunny, and she's deaf in one ear. And sometimes when she's psychic, and sometimes she works with it, and sometimes she would say, someone's talking to me and they're lying, and I'll hear what they're really saying in my deaf ear.
Mhm.
It's kind of
Yeah,
interesting,
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
It's like the demons are pretty low vibrational frequency, whereas, I've been dealing with a lot of warrior angels over the last, 10 years that have been coming to me. And
What are those?
people don't understand. The hierarchy in heaven is God, Jesus, the Legion of Light, which is Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ariel. And then there are the other archangels, and then there are the warrior angels, and then there
Okay.
are the common angels.
Okay.
Warrior angels are select. They are the best of the best. They have to prove their dedication to the light, to God, and have to be willing to reincarnate into the physical world and do what needs to be done. And each one of them are trained by the Legion. It's each one of
Okay.
them will
Okay.
come and be trained, but they have to prove themselves first.
Okay.
Not just any angel can be a warrior angel.
And what do they
So
do exactly? The war they fight
they,
against it.
they are all trained in combat, but each one has their own specialty. Like some of them are facilitators, some are healers, some are
Like people.
communicators, just like people.
Yeah.
And usually, when they incarnate, the physical being that they incarnate, the physical body, is usually mirrors what they are.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
So if it's like if you're a healer, if you're a warrior angel and you're a healer, you're probably going to work in somewhere like social work or a nurse or a doctor, physical therapist, things like
My old
that.
co-host thought she was angelic, I think, but she never said it. She always was drawn to fighting demons and stuff like that. My old co-host Misty, she was very drawn to that. It's the only thing in the metaphysics that she was really, really into was
Yeah,
angel.
warrior
Yeah, big thing.
angels are that way. Only an archangel can kill a demon,
Okay.
and that's what I enjoy doing.
That's cool. So tell us about that. What was the first experience with that? How did that even become a thing for you?
When I was a kid, I think had to deal with my first demon when I was 9.
Did
And
you
I
know it
had
was a demon when you were 9?
oh yeah, I've seen him.
You
I had
knew.
seen him from the time I was born.
Okay.
So because Michael came to me when I was about 3.5, and he said, because my vision changed. Usually before that, I saw them as most humans do, a black mass or a black shadow, that type of thing. And then I saw it for the first time in its true form. And Michael said, you're seeing them through the eyes of an angel. You're seeing them as we do in their true form, which he says, I want you to watch them. I want you to learn from them, how they work, so that you're going to need it later when you grow up. So when you're a kid, you think, oh, cool, it's a game. But I saw my first, I saw my first one.
An attitude. I would have been terrified.
Yeah, I saw my first one whispering in my mother's ear, and my mother was not a nice person.
Yeah.
And so she turned to look at me, and there was pure hatred in her face. And I'm like, oh, goody, goody. And that was, my first experience with them influencing somebody
close. Your mother. Oh my God.
Yeah, she was bipolar, and she was dissociative disorder and stuff like that. She wasn't normal. And all 3 of my brothers turned out that way. And it's like my son said, Mom, are you the only normal person in your family? I said, yeah, pretty much. I said, if you consider talking with demons.
Energy and the psychic abilities, maybe it was too much for these people. Like it couldn't handle it, or they just went crazy with it.
They were not, they never inherited it.
Oh,
It's
they
for the
didn't
women
encourage.
in the
Okay.
family.
Okay. That's right. You did say it was.
All
Okay.
the women get it, and my son
Mhm.
has it. He's the last of our line. That's
Mhm.
the only reason he has it.
Oh,
And he doesn't advertise it because he doesn't want people to know about that.
right. It's not his thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not his thing. Especially demons are not his thing. But
Right.
you
Right.
know, it's not for everybody, and
So what happened when
nobody
you? What
nobody would
happened?
pick it.
You said, "I'll do it." So
Yeah, right.
what happened when you saw this with your mother? Like, how did this is the first demon you really fought?
Yeah, I
Go.
talked to my grandmother about it, and she's like, "You'll learn that your mother has issues and she's violent and stuff like that." So I grew up, she'd get mad or something, she'd take a baseball bat to me. So, you know,
Oh my
that's the
God,
way
I'm so
that's the
sorry.
way she was. But it made me stronger. So,
It's
because
good
I
that
don't
you
put up.
find something in
Yeah,
it that is
yeah. I
valid.
don't
That's what
put
I
up
do
with it.
too.
I don't put up with any shit.
No, I
I'm
don't
too-
imagine you do. No. You put it back
no,
on.
it's like no, you'd be sorry for that one. It's like I've had instances where people come to me and say, this bruja, this witch put, attached a demon to me,
Mhm.
and I'm like, really? And it's like, I'm like, let me just let me do the bruja favor. Let me just, take it away from the person and attach it to the witch and see how they like it. They don't
You can
like it
do
at
that?
all. For some, oh yeah, I can do that.
Oh, that is so great.
Yeah,
You
because
really manipulate them.
they're afraid of Ariel
Yeah.
because she's one of the demon
You can
slayers.
destroy them. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend that lives in Scotland, and he said to him and his archangel Hanel and Lucifer were best friends before the war between heaven and hell. And so he comes to see him from time to time. And he asked him one time, because my friend calls me Auntie Ariel. He says, well, what do you think about Auntie Ariel? And Lucifer told him, respect the assassin.
The assassin. Woo!
Yeah, because she is known as an assassin. She's one of the,
Yeah.
the Legion are demon slayers, plain and simple.
Okay. Okay.
And they do not incarnate. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, they do not incarnate.
But they made
She,
Eric.
yeah, well, God did because of her lack of caring about the human race. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
she's like all angels. She'd rather deal with animals.
I felt it. Yeah, she does love the animals. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I felt with the presence when it came, and I read about it, and I read about that angel a lot because that was so shocking it happened.
yeah. What gets me is that Ariel's considered. The Catholic Church considers Ariel unworthy of veneration,
Interesting.
and
Huh.
she just laughs when they say that. She's like, but you come to me when you need me.
Yes.
That's so cool, man. So I have a question. Like, can you tell us about the demons? What's their hierarchy and stuff like? What are they? What are they?
Yeah,
What are they like?
there used to be ancient demons until we got rid of them all. But
Okay.
ancient demons were around before man was, and they're really pain in the butt, but they're gone now because we got tired of it and just finally got rid of them all. But the hierarchy is there's Lucifer, there's his first, second, and third in command.
Okay.
And then there are the old demons, which are the most powerful of all the demons.
Okay.
And the most intelligent. And then there are the lesser demons. And I liken them to hormonal teenagers, Yeah, I call them stupid, and Lucifer doesn't like that. He says they just haven't learned. I said they never will if they continue the way they are. But and then you have the minions, which are the shadow people, the creepy crawly little dudes, the harpies.
What are harpies? I know what a
Harpies
harpy is in mythology, but I didn't know. I don't know in demonology.
It's a scavenger of the damned, so to speak.
Oh my!
Yeah,
that sounds bad down there.
You don't want to deal with them too much. They just I've run into them a few times, but they as well respect the assassin, so they don't try to pull anything. So.
Oh, that is so interesting. So, where are you at with your? I guess your mission right now. Do you have like a mission to do anything? We have
we have weekly battles. I mean, it happens
Always,
all the
it's
time.
very interesting that you say that. I was doing a reading one time for a woman at my house in Alabama,
Mhm.
and I was doing a medium reading, and she didn't say much, and she was kind of testing me. And she asked, I said, "Gosh, there's a lot of people here, a lot." I said, "They're going out into my yard," and she said, "They're all men, aren't they?" And I was like, yeah, they are. And I saw one dude who was dressed in drag, and I thought it was a woman. I was like, "Oh wait," there. And I was like, "No, that's a
Mhm.
man in drag." And she's just like, "Yep." And they wouldn't tell me. Like they were all quiet. None of them would tell me anything. And
Yeah,
then they
they
just
won't.
explained there's a lot of wars and stuff, and they
Yeah,
just left it at that. And I didn't tell her.
yeah,
I just said, "I don't know what to tell you."
yeah.
She wanted to hear about it, but I didn't know
The
what I was
big
doing.
battles are usually with the Legion, and there's it's like people think that all that demons are all bad, but they're
That's
not.
what this tarot deck I have is the Dana.
Yeah,
Oh, I
you
told you.
have
Yeah,
the ones, the old ones
that's
that
what these. This is. Yeah.
they're not nice no matter how you look at it. But there one day I had one come to me, an old demon, and he's like, "I want your help," and I'm like, "You want my help? Or you want Ariel's help?"
Yeah.
Both, he said. He
Mhm.
says, "I want to be a between the human world and the dark realm." And
Mm.
I'm like, "Well, what do you want to do?" He says, "I want to help the humans." And what happens is each demon has a little spark of still of the light within them.
Oh.
And most of them will, when it starts to come out or, ignite, they will crush it. But he didn't with his. And that's why he was shades of gray and onyx
Okay.
rather than the total
He
black.
kept. It
And he,
probably hurts the demons to have that in them. That.
yeah, but he's like, I said, okay. I said, he says, can you go to Lucifer and ask him? And I'm like, okay, fine. I will. So I went to Lucifer. I said, this is what he wants to do. He said, well, I have to talk to the other the old ones. So he got back to me a couple of days later and he said, yeah, that was okay. He would allow him to do that. So I don't say the demon's name. I just call him Herb. I
Herb.
like it better.
Herb. I like it. Herb.
He comes to
Herbie.
me from time to time if he's got intel for me, something going on. He
Interesting.
needs
Wow.
help, something
So
like that.
you've
He'll
you've
come.
actually spoken with Lucifer. What is
Oh
that
yeah.
demon or that character or that person? I mean, what is he? What is he? What is Lucifer? It's a fallen angel.
Yeah,
So
he's a fallen angel, but a lot of people think, that heaven and hell always existed, but it didn't. They were all white light beings at one time. The
yeah.
thing is, though, Lucifer is like it's like a bully. There's going to come a time when they're going to try to take over, kind of
Yes.
like the mafia, And he wanted to take over, the heavenly light,
Okay.
the heavenly realm. And so he went up. He went up against them. Of course, he lost. And Lucifer, God said, I'm going to give you because what happened was, our souls traveled for trillions of years, and we were physical at one time. But we evolved beyond that and traveled for trillions of years. And then we decided, we'd like to have a body. We'd like to have children. We'd like to know love.
Oh.
We want to experience that again. But Lucifer and his followers didn't want to have nothing to do with it, nothing whatsoever. So when the war was over and God won, he said, I'm going to give you exactly what you want. You're never going to be able to take physical form. He said, but you can't live among us.
Mhm.
So he opened a rift into a dark realm and says, here's your kingdom. And then he closed it. And there are two sentinels at the doorway, so to speak.
Mhm.
And then there was a time when Azrael said, was talking to Ariel and said, well, what if there's, souls that want to repent, souls that want to come back? And so we took that before God, and God said, okay, I'll let you go into the dark realm. He said, if you find people, if you find souls that want to come back, you have to make that judgment call. And then they have to come before me. And so that's where Azrael is. And I think I can count on one hand the amount that he's had that
Oh, but that's
wanted to come back.
enough. I
But
mean, one is enough,
yeah,
Save one
it's better
soul.
than, yeah, it's better than it was.
Yeah. That's just wild. I've never heard stories like this before, June. This is just fascinating.
Yeah.
Jonna, do you have any questions? I'm sure you do.
I know one question. I usually try to think about what our listeners and watchers might
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
thinking. Um, so the embodiment of an angelic being. I mean, if
Mhm.
okay, so if I'm not sure how to phrase this. So if she's reincarnated in you, then is
Mhm.
she basically always in you, or is this an embodiment where she can come and go?
She
Is
comes
there
and goes.
something separate?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's like, okay, the easiest way to explain it is like, you have twins, identical twins.
Mhm.
One will stub their toe and the other one will yell or cry because it
Yeah.
hurt, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's kind of how it is.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
She's always constantly with me, but
Hmm.
there's a part of her that's on the other side.
Hmm.
Okay.
And it's like me. There's part of my consciousness that's in the physical world, and there's a part
Hmm.
that's that with her on the other side. That's why when we attend battles and we do the battles, that's
Yeah.
why I know everything that happens in the battle. We had one battle, August 8th, 1818, and Lucifer's son had
August
was
8th,
trying.
1818.
Yeah,
That's significant around the time. That's the
August
time period
August
I was
18th,
dealing with
two
the
thousand
demon.
eighteen,
That's
and
exactly when I was dealing with the demon. Exactly that time period.
No, she's
and
saying
that's when
1818.
Oh, 18. I thought she said
right.
1918. I
Yeah,
thought I was,
yeah.
oh, I mean
No.
2018. I thought she said
Yeah, no, no,
2018.
no.
I
Yes,
was just like,
1818.
it was
Although, yeah,
the
weird.
eighth month, the
yeah,
18th day
yeah.
of
And the eight,
2018.
yeah.
So
Oh,
Lucifer's son had been trying to, you know, he wanted to do battle with Ariel because
Hmm.
Ariel disarmed him in the
Hmm.
battle in the war against heaven and hell. And so he told Ariel, I want revenge.
Hmm.
And Ariel said, I will battle you at my convenience. And she picked 8/18/18.
Hmm.
And Lucifer came to her and said, this is not sanctioned by me. I
Hmm.
do not approve of this. He has no respect. He said it's on his head.
Hmm.
And so when Ariel killed him, it is what it is.
Hmm.
He did it to himself.
okay. Wow. So like when you're going into these battles, is this something you do in spirit form, kind of, or
It's yeah, it's kind of like
like astral
it's
travel kind
heavy.
of?
It's like if you astro travel, only it's more real.
Yeah.
It's a
Hmm.
whole different realm of existence.
Okay.
I call it no man's land.
Do people ever
Hmm.
go there other than when we die, say? If
Yeah,
we
the
even do.
no man's land is especially for the battles
Okay. Oh,
because both sides can meet there and do battle
okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
because it's kind of like in between.
Hmm.
And like that battle with Lucifer's son, um, Ariel was injured in it, and when I came out of the um, other realm, my knee hurt for days afterwards, and that was because that's where she was hit.
Hmm.
Weird.
But they usually don't get the chance to get that close to her. But
I bet.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
but
felt
it's
when
like,
her presence was just power and embodiment of just
yeah, I
his
sent
love. I mean,
her
there's a lot of love there.
a friend of mine in England's husband died unexpectedly. He was 57 years old, and she was in the hospital having surgery
Hmm.
at the time that he died.
Wow.
And she was just really just a mess. And she said, "Can you have Ariel bring him to me?" And so I said, "Yes." So I had Ariel bring him to her. And she said, I could see her. And she said, if I didn't know she was good, she says, I would be afraid because she was
Hmm.
so fierce.
Hmm.
But she brought John to her, and she, could feel him. And Michael said, I'm going to do you a favor. He says, I'm going to preserve the body. So he wasn't buried for a month afterwards. And the mortician couldn't figure it out because there was no decay. The body never decayed.
Wow.
It was absolutely just like he could just sit up
Mhm.
and walk away.
Wow.
And they can do
There's
a
a
lot of
saint
different
who's
things.
like that too. Isn't there a saint and then who's preserved? I can't remember the name of the saint. There was a saint who was preserved and supposedly they never decayed either. I can't remember who.
Yeah, it can be done. It just
Yeah.
depends.
Mhm.
You know, it depends upon the need for it. And, you know, I asked him to do it for her. So,
Okay. Wow, man, you've got such amazing stories. I could just sit here. I mean, really, I mean, I could pick your brain. That's like it's been like 40 minutes and I could just sit here for another 40. But I don't want to do that
I'm
to you and the
about to
listeners.
release I'm about to release my bio.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Tell us about your
Yeah.
bio.
Yeah.
It's called, I just got through doing the last chapter. It's called Return of the Demon Slayer.
I love it. I love that title.
And, you know,
Mhm.
I'm going to read that.
There's like a
Mhm.
preface, you know, and then there are chapters that explain. The first ones are the ones that explain, you know, how I can see things and
Mhm.
why I can see things.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And things like that, and how for people to understand what they're going to read.
Yeah.
You know, and it starts from the childhood on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the thing is, the angelic beings can bring memories from from the moment you're born forward.
Mhm.
Really?
And so they brought the memories of my birth and everything,
Mhm.
and all the events that happened there. And my grandmother, she also brought memories from her
Mhm.
point of view. And
Mhm.
so those are in there because people will probably think, well, and that's what I explained before they start reading the actual, you know, lifetime, that they can do that. And so, because people would ask, well, how do you know you were a baby? And that's the way I know, is because it's
Mhm.
all been, you know, all that's been activated within me, so I can see it all and hear it all, literally hear everything that was said and everything that was seen. So
That is so cool. You must feel isolated.
Mhm.
Do you feel isolated from people, or because you have the angelic presence with you, do you feel pretty good all the time?
well, I have a lot of energy. They give me a lot of she gives me
That's
a
so
lot of
curious. Like, really,
energy.
do you feel isolated sometimes?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's very different for people.
It depends. I have, you know, in some ways it needs to be, you know,
Mhm.
because, and in other times, you know, I'm the type of person that it's like, I'm okay with my own company. I don't have
It's
a
really
problem with it because
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never
All three
really
of us are
alone.
that way, I think. We
Yeah.
feel
I'm
alone.
never really
Yeah.
alone. And
Yeah,
then I have the
it's true.
dogs. So I have the dogs. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of difficult because my husband he's agnostic,
Oh.
you know. So he believes in a higher power, doesn't give a
This
name,
is no. Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
he doesn't understand what I do. But it's
Right.
like he told our son, he says, I may not understand what your mother does, but I see the good that she
Mhm.
does.
Yeah.
So I will support her in everything that she does.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, even though he doesn't understand, but being married to me, he's seeing things he don't want to see anymore.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
I bet.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like when we went to the coast to visit my cousin and he saw a demon for the first time. He's like, yep, I never want to see that again.
Yeah.
Is that how you said it?
Once was just plenty. Thank you.
No more, no
Yeah,
more, no more.
yeah.
You go on with your way with that. I'll
It's
just
like
back off.
never now and then he'll see my grandmother, you know, walk through the house or my sister walk through the house. Okay. And one time we were sitting in the living room watching TV, and we have this like pass through. We made this pass through. It's a framed window between the kitchen and the living room. And it was dark in the kitchen. He says, and I heard him say, Ray. And I was like, and I heard him say it again, my son. And he's like, I said, Ray's downstairs. What do you want? And he goes, I'm not going to tell you what I saw then. I said, what did you see?
Yeah.
He says, I saw somebody with long hair because our son had long hair at the time, you know, and it's like, I said, oh, that's just my sister Ann. Don't worry about it. You said, if you can't touch it, feel it, or see it, it doesn't exist. There you go. Yeah. Oh, hey, they're going to prove it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, when does the book come out? I'm really curious. What's the release date? Do you have one?
I'm probably the end of March because I'm going through the grammar and punctuation and all that stuff right
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
And every time I got close to it, the guys on the other side says, well, don't forget about this or don't forget about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's writing this book and why do I need to put that in there? It was God's idea. I wrote my first book anyway, A Medium's Guide to the Paranormal. He's like, I want you to write a book. I'm like, okay.
I didn't know you had a book. Do you have more books? Do you have a lot of books?
I was just gonna ask you to talk about the fact that you have several other books already.
Oh, I got get on Amazon right now.
I have 12 books. They're all on Amazon. But he said, I want you to write a book. I don't care what you put in it, but I want people to know that I do hear them.
Mm-hmm.
But I do hear their prayers. Mm-hmm. But I give them what they need, which is not always what they want.
Mm-hmm. Not the expectations. We've talked about that on the podcast a lot.
Yeah.
It's just
in
general.
It's all about what you need.
Look at all these. We've got the side of the paranormal, Demon Seer, The Awakening, a primer, A Medium Guide to the Paranormal Encounters, Demon Seekers into Darkness, Demon Seekers, The Journey Begins. She's got a million books, listeners. And Paranormal Encounters by June. I think that's the same. Okay. And then Out of Time. And then
Out of Time is a paranormal romance.
I thought it was. It looks good. I love the cover. I'm a novelist, so I love this. This is great. I'm so excited. I can't wait to order these books and
get the one book that people sells a lot it's called The Dark Side of the Paranormal.
Dark Side.
I was doing some of my friends talked me into doing the Body, Mind, and Spirit Expo, and when you do that, you get to give an hour lecture, right?
Okay.
And everybody's telling me, oh, do it about angels. I said, hell no. Everybody does things about angels. So I titled my lecture, The Dark Side of the Paranormal. And I was a little late getting to it. And it was standing room only. And I'm like, oh, crap. It's like,
whoa, that's so cool.
So I gave my lecture, and then people were coming by and thanking me for talking about it because nobody wanted to talk about it.
Because people don't talk about it.
They should. They should. This is fascinating me to learn about.
That's the thing. People need to talk about it. People need to ask questions about it because it's so shrouded in mystery, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad," And I'm not saying it's sunshine and lollipops, but if a person needs help, how are they going to find it if nobody talks about it?
That's
the thing, so and that's what I tell people. I said, I advertise my books because people need to understand that the dark ones are out there, and they need to understand how they work. And that's why I wrote the book, The Dark Side of the Paranormal, because it talks about how they work, what they do, signs and symptoms, and the fears that the demons have. And they do have fears. People think that they don't, but they do.
Yeah, they do.
They have fears.
They're full of them. It makes sense that they'd be full of them.
Well, they think they don't let anybody know about them.
Inferiorities.
But having dealt with them all my life, I know exactly what they're, and I can get inside a demon's head. That's the thing. I go into their head. I find out, and they don't even know it. And I find out why they are attached to this person, how they found them, and what they're doing to them. That way I can tell the person, I know exactly what he's doing to you, this, and this. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I said, because I can get in their brain.
That is great. That's really wild. When you're in the demon's mind, are you also in the person's mind who's possessed, for example?
No, because you really want to just get into the demon's mind. Like I had a lady that was possessed for 20 years. She had 11 demons in her. I did.
How does that happen?
I did a show called Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. He's a friend of mine. It's a big show. And I got over 300 requests for help in the first week.
Whoa. There's a lot of demon stuff to do.
Oh, yeah. She was a lot of them. This woman was one of them. She said, I'm possessed. And I'm thinking, oh, do I got a psycho one here or what? But I said, send me a picture. So if I get a picture of an individual, I can tell you exactly what's there and how it's there, and why it got there and stuff. And so I said, okay, I'll help you. I have a friend that's a ordained minister, and he kept wanting to come with me to a removal. And then I have a friend of mine, Wendy, who works with me. She does, like, she's the diplomatic side of the two of us. I just go into a location. I know exactly what's there, and I just head for it and take care of business. She talks to the people. And I'm like, okay, fine. But and God said, I want him to come. He needs to understand. He fears the dark ones. You cannot fear the dark ones and serve me in this manner. So I told him, I said, you need to bring the things that you need. Bring your minister stuff, your priest stuff. And I said, you're going to go with me. I said, because God wants you to understand and to learn. So we go there, knock on the door, and the woman opened it, and it wasn't really the woman. It was one of the demons. And she growled at me in Aramaic and said, get out, bitch, and then slammed the door. My friends are like looking at me like, what was that?
Yeah, I bet they were.
I'm like, don't worry about it. So I knock on the door again. This time she answered it, and she was in control for the moment. And so it took me a good 2 hours to remove the first 10 of them. And then I had one left. And I told it, I said, you can go home if you are truly repentant. You can go to the light. And it was like, I can? And I'm like, yes. If you want to go, I'll ask Jesus to come for you. So I said, Jesus, come forth. And my friends are standing in front of me. I'm behind the woman who's sitting in a chair. And my friends part as this big white hand comes out. And it was so bright they couldn't look at it.
Whoa.
And I said, go ahead. I said, if you want to go to the light, take his hand. And then it drew back into her, said, no, I can never go home. I can never go home. And I said, so be it. So Jesus took his hand away. And then I said, Lucifer, come forth. And he appeared at the end of the hallway and walking towards us. And my friends are like freaking out. And, I told him, I said, this one's yours. I said, it's been hiding. I said, I know it's been hiding from you. I said, you told it to do, you gave it a job to do, and it didn't do it. He says, yes, I've been looking for him. And I said, okay. So he went to the demon and he said, come with me. And the demon's like, no way. Because the demon knew Lucifer would kill him, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And Lucifer turned to look at me. He says, I know you don't want me to harm the woman, so I will be back for it tonight. So he went down the hallway and disappeared. And I told the woman, I said, 10 of them are gone. I said, Lucifer will be back for the other one tonight. And we left. And my friends, that's a minister, he says, Aaron, he says, for a split second, when you summoned Lucifer, he says, I thought you had lost your mind. He said, but then in the next second, I realized who and what you are. So I wasn't afraid. And what happened was the first demon attached itself to the woman. And then once that happens, it will attract other demons.
Yeah.
And they will
it's like
come.
the door's open, come on in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The thing is, people think that demons, possess the body 24/7, but they don't. They don't want to be in that damn physical body any longer than they have to.
Okay.
So the more of them that are within that body, they come and go like a friggin', revolving door.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But
that's a lot.
When they're
yeah.
So 20 years, that's a long time. I told her, I said, please get counseling. I said, you have PTSD. After 20 years of this, get counseling. So she did. She called.
Did she find the right kind of counselor, like a spiritual counselor or something?
Yeah, because obviously, I would think most traditional
you can't have a traditional
psychotherapy.
Yeah, I know 2 counselors that deal with this sort of thing. So I referred her to one. Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting it together, and people think, there's more possessions than people know.
Yeah.
I
And
believe you.
there's, you know,
Oh
in
yeah.
2017, there was a there was a article in Newsweek magazine, January 2017, saying that the Catholic Church was training more exorcists than ever before in
I
the
did read
history of the
something like that.
church.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but what good is it? I asked Michael, I said, why is it takes them months, weeks, years to remove a demon? I don't understand that.
Right.
And Michael says, because they have doubt. If they
Oh,
have doubt in what they're doing, in their ability to do it,
Mm-hmm.
in themselves,
that's the
in the
human
process,
condition we're all trying to
Yeah.
beat.
in the
Self-doubt,
process, in the process,
Yeah.
or their faith is weak.
Yeah.
He says that they'll never succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, that's why I have no doubt. I'm not afraid of them. I have no doubt in what I do because I know what I can do. And so I don't fear them. That's why I don't have any problems removing them.
That's great.
It takes me a minute or two,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but that's the way it is. But then, you know, people don't understand. It's not just the removal of the demon. The demon doesn't just affect the individual it's attached to. It affects everyone in the inner circle,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
you know. And so you have to remove the residual energy that's left over in the person, in the people that are attached to that person. And, you know, and the energy is absorbed by porous, you know, surfaces. So the house, the land,
Okay.
tree, the bottle of beer, you know, everything, it's all porous.
Yeah.
So you have to clear it all out or it'll attract others.
Okay.
You know, it's like, oh, Joe ate here. Let's come on down.
That's interesting that you told me that. Okay.
Yeah, you have to.
So where can the listeners and watchers find you? Oh, by the way, it's a video podcast, so maybe I don't know if this will turn into an audio or video podcast when I get to it. But where can we find you? Where can the listeners find you?
Well, they can go to my website, mysticconnections.org.
MysticConnections.org, and his books are on Amazon.
Yeah. All my books are on Amazon. Yeah, you can find them. I even have some kids' books that I wrote years ago.
Yeah.
And they get 5 stars. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's so great, man.
And we can make sure for the audience that all of your everything that you want as far as ways for people to find your books, get in touch with you. You just make sure that you give that to us, and then we'll make sure that that's in the, you know,
because I'm on Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'll give you all that information.
Thank you.
And there's a tab on my website that's, you know, that will, you know, you can communicate. You can ask for, you know, you can send an email and ask for help.
That's great, June. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
And listeners, if you're having issues, I would highly recommend June to help you if you need it.
Yeah, I do intuitive reading. I do intuitive readings as well. Yeah,
great too. It's like confident, but it's not in your face confident. You know what I mean? It's you don't feel like you feel like you're comfortable.
Like I used to tell people in the military, I put my pants on the same way you do, one leg at a time. just because I am an officer doesn't mean it's any different.
I do have one last question. I usually ask for advice, but instead I want to ask about guardian angels. What are guardian angels?
Guardian angels are angels that are assigned to you to watch over you, to give you a swift kick in the butt. So give you a swift kick in the butt to keep you on track.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can communicate with them, they can give good advice. You know, they have the best advice because they know your future. They know you're going to screw up. They know you're not going to screw up. You know, if you get I see timelines. So when I see the 3 timelines, you know, you're supposed to be in the middle, not to the left and not to the right. And they'll give you a swift kick and get you back in the middle.
That's great. I like that. I love when I met my guardian angel. It was a very special day, but it's just the other things happened that were really cool. And I feel like she's a she, you know, she told me her name, and it was just really cool. Like I just interacted with her, and the very first time I experienced her, though, like consciously, I was petting my cat Gandalf, all snuggled up with him, and I was like, I want all the spirits to go away and just be me and Gandalf. And so I pushed them all out of the room and emptied the whole house. And then Gandalf like looked over he went, over my shoulder at the guardian angel peeking at him. And I was like, well, I can't get rid of that one. I don't want to.
No, it's just like because I have Ariel, I don't need guardian angels.
Yeah, you don't, I guess. Yeah, you are the
no,
guardian.
but my sister, who died at 2 months old, and my great grandmother, they hang out.
They do. Okay, good. So they're there to help. They're like your spirit team.
Yeah.
Warriors.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Gosh, this has just been a fascinating episode. At this point, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get advice from psychics and empaths to get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And Donna and I are both advisors on Everclear. I am Lisa Russick.
Cool.
And on Everclear, I am still Maria M, but because of trying to get
it took a while for me too. Yeah, it took about a month.
Donna Murphy, but you can look for me on Everclear as Maria M.
Okay. And I guess one last question. Do you love the listeners and the watchers, June? Do you love them?
The watchers are neutral, supposed to be neutral.
They are,
but not every now and then I come across one that's not.
Oh, you'll love that one.
Then I have to take care of business.
That's her job. That's her job, and it's official business, and it's her purpose. I guess it's your purpose.
Yeah.
And so, how does it feel to walk through life knowing your purpose like that? The other people don't.
Mm-hmm. To me, it's the same. It's like breathing. I mean,
it's what you know.
I've known it forever. So it's like, my grandma said, it's like, this is what you're supposed to do. And this is, this is how you live.
Did you want
to have to understand.
You have a choice.
No, I do not have a choice. Ariel won't let me have a choice. Yeah. But normally, certain things are set in stone. The time you come in, the time you leave, and the method in which you leave. Everything else is open to free will, except for if you're made to come back and live physical world lives because you were naughty.
Something tells me I'll be back.
That's why that's why I have no patience, because I had patience when my son was born, and I don't have patience with stupidity though.
I can see that you wouldn't need it.
I've had people that's like, I do what you do. I said, no, honey, if you did what I did, you wouldn't have a demon attached to you.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Well, do you have any advice for the listeners about if they think they're having that kind of attack?
If they're like, there's a lot of people that do paranormal investigations and things like that. But if you happen to go into a place or an area where you think there's something negative, either you sense it, feel it, or see it, do not acknowledge it. To acknowledge it is to make it see you, and you don't want it to see you.
Okay.
That's the best advice I can give.
That's the instinct I have around energies like that. Like, I don't notice you.
Yeah.
I'm not here.
Yeah.
I do that with people too. If I sense that people are not good or ethical.
If you sense something is bad,
and it's like, I'm invisible.
I put my shield up and my energy flames and all this crap. You know, you can't see me. My white pyramid.
See, that's the thing people don't understand too, is like in the dark realm as well as the light realm, thought becomes reality.
Yes.
And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it the power, whether for good or for evil.
Yeah.
So watch what you're thinking.
Thank you. And that's the angel number I talked about in the Angel Numbers podcast. 111. It's like manifesting your thoughts right now. So
be careful.
And listeners and watchers, thank you so much for listening and watching. And this has been June. I have just loved this. Thank you so much. This has just been great. And Donna,
had a good time.
I'm glad you had fun.
I
didn't think you would make it. I was dragging my butt at 7. Like I woke up at 6:30. Like, I got to do this.
Well, I don't get off work till 4:30. So there you go.
There you go. Well, thank you guys, and thank you so much again. And listeners and watchers, Donna and I both love you.
We love you.
And
June, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. June and I know each other. We've talked many times. This is the first opportunity through our show to it was an opportunity for me to have her meet our audience, and just thank you so much. This was wonderful.
I had a good time. Both of you
I can't wait to publish this time. Listeners, y'all gonna love it. I'm telling you at the end, you're gonna love it. And thank you again. And thank you, listeners, and everybody have a good time wherever you may be. Peace.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.